All right. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Awesome. So welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Best day of the week. My favorite day of the week. I love Wednesdays.
Especially this week.
Especially this week. So just a heads up to anybody new. I am going on my vacation tomorrow. So tomorrow, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, I will be gone. I will be back for next week's Wednesday group call. And so just bring lots and lots of questions because I'm not going to have a specific topic for that week. We might end up talking about my vacation, who knows?
Good.
Yeah, so hopefully I have some good stuff to share that is in relation to what we're all doing here and why you're out on this call and why you signed up for the program and all of that sort of stuff. So bring lots of questions. Now, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., well, 9 a.m. my time, whatever that is for you guys, Dr. Inventino should be covering. He's been sick all week, so hopefully he can make it for tomorrow, but and likely Monday night and Tuesday afternoon as well. So he'll be covering those. So bring lots and lots of questions, show him the love, pick his brain so that uh, he can get all those things answered for you. I am not going to be reachable. You can send me an email, and I'm going to bring my work phone, but I'm going to probably only be checking it at night before bed or in the morning. I'm doing some ceremonial kinds of things, and it's more of a retreat, so I will not have my phone with me. So if you can make the group calls, you can ask Dr. Infantino and get your answer a lot quicker. The emails, if you email me, I'm not going to be able to answer it. Probably won't even be Wednesday because I'll be taking calls all day Wednesday, likely. Anyway, I will help you the best as I can, even while I'm gone, though. So I do have my phone. If you have any quick food questions, I can quickly give you a yay or a nay. So this week, we're talking about the shopping secrets the big food companies don't want me to share with you because they do lots of things. It's their job to sell us their stuff. And so I just want you to know what they're doing to do that and also what's kind of going on in your food and why certain labels mean certain things and why they don't mean certain things and why they lead us to believe certain things. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We get some opening funnies. I will reveal the secrets. And then, of course, there's always room for Q and A at the end. So I had some, uh, where's my list here? Some kind of funny food jokes. I like the memes. I used to tell really bad jokes, but I found these memes. I think they're a little funnier than I am. So anyway, enjoy those. I wanted to welcome some of the new people. We've got Janet, Michelle, Judy, Melanie. I got two Jennies, one of which is on the phone. Liz, Brandy, Nancy, Tina, Susan, Lynn, Joanne, and Amanda. So welcome in all to the new people. And I do want to shout out for Tina. And I've got several Tinas, so it doesn't sound like you. There's a couple of you. Down 15 pounds, and she's pretty new. She said she's completely changed her state of mind, and she feels like she has no chains. I love it when people say that. To me, it's like they get it. So at first we start bumbling, we're not sure what we can eat, what not to eat, all this stuff. But once you sort of get in the groove and get going, and then it's kind of that aha moment comes, that's a beautiful thing. And it might come early and it might come later. I know a lot of you on this call already have had those aha moments and you're well on your way. Awesome. All right. So, oh, thanks, Evelyn. Sometimes they're pretty corny. Evelyn said she likes my jokes, but all right. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right. So first, this is just kind of an intro stuff. There's those magic pills. We've seen them. We've heard about them. They're going to kill all the belly fat. They have crazy claims, lose 20 pounds in 20 minutes or 20 pounds in 20 days or whatever. And this is I say favorite, but least favorite, because I think it's the funniest thing in the world. No need to diet or work out. Now, I'll tell you, I'll be honest, your diet is really a good, probably 80% of your results. And I know when I'm physically incapable of working out, as long as I stay good with my food, I don't pack on the pounds or get completely out of shape. But we do need to move our bodies. If we don't use it, we lose it. So we start to lose muscle tone. So if somebody's telling you you don't have to do anything and it's some kind of magic pill, please understand, I feel like it's a snake oil. Like that's why I got this picture in the bottom. It feels like that feels like a snake oil to me. It's going to kill the belly fat, no need to work out. I wouldn't trust that. I've been a personal trainer for 25 years and been very immersed in the nutrition side of stuff. So I wouldn't take that magic pill. All right, so Nutella, this is just a few items I picked out randomly. I'll buzz through this stuff because you probably, this group here, you're probably not eating this stuff anyway. But so Nutella, it was actually promoted as a healthy thing and it was promoted for kids. So yeah, it's hazelnuts, skim milk, and cocoa, which can seem fairly healthy to most people. And they did market it to kids because it is chocolatey and it is very, very sweet. However, it does have palm oil, which is a trans fat, artificial flavors, which are basically chemicals, and it has a boatload of sugar. So we do not want to give this to our kids on purpose, nor our adult selves.
I have
They
a
did,
funny story about Nutella. My
pardon?
I have a funny story about Nutella. My daughter bought it. My one grandson opened it up and like took off with it, right? And hid it under his bed. He loved it. He didn't want to share it with his brothers.
It's sugar.
So,
Of course.
Chocolate.
Well, he's no dummy.
yeah. So just saying.
Well, apparently they got sued and they lost because they were trying to market it as a healthy product.
Well,
And
my
clearly,
daughter hasn't learned it's not healthy.
uh, well, that's kind of sad. When I hear stories like that, they have family members, husbands or spouses or children or grandchildren that just won't budge. And you are learning and learning, and it gets harder and harder and harder to eat some of the bad stuff, especially if you're coming to these group calls, because we're learning about how bad they are and what they're doing in our body. And then you watch family members or loved ones consuming it, and you can't tell them what to do. They have to want to do it for themselves. So all we can do is lead by example. All right, so honey. Now, honey isn't all bad. I'm not poo-pooing all honey. Now, right now, the first 12 weeks, it is off, especially those first 6 weeks that are crucial, because it does have some benefit to it. However, yeah, so it does have some real honey. Real honey has antioxidants. It does have some phytonutrients. It's also, if you get local honey to your area, it's also really good for allergies, for airborne allergies. Can help improve immune system. And I already had that on here. Okay, so it does relieve allergies. So these are some positive benefits of honey. However, if it's some of that stuff that's in that little plastic bear or it's marketed to children, if you look at your ingredients list, sometimes the first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. The first ingredient means it's got more of that than anything else below it. So on your ingredient list, it goes most to least. So if the first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup, it has more sugar than it does actual honey. And believe it or not, there's a lot of honeys with other added junk in it.
Yeah.
So for me, if you are going to buy honey once you graduate your first 12 weeks, go to a farmer's market, if possible, if you can find one in your area, and get something local. So yeah, it has high fructose corn syrup. Oh, I guess that's it. Sorry. So yeah, so high fructose corn syrup is a processed sugar. It's made from corn product, but it's processed and it's more addictive than regular sugar. And it's cheaper. So that's why they put it in there. They know that honey can be a good honey can be kind of expensive. Diet Coke, I'm preaching to the choir here, but just saying. Yeah, it tastes good. There's no calories. It's sugar free, so that makes sense. We all know sugar is our enemy and the bad thing. It's guilt free. So why wouldn't I choose that? Well, because it's been associated, the aspartame in Diet Cokes has been associated with migraines and headaches. It can reduce insulin sensitivity, which is not good, and it inhibits weight loss. So this is junk. This is filled with added colors and processed things and artificial sweeteners. So it's basically a can of chemicals. I know you guys already know this. Oh, and it can cause eye problems and blurred vision, likely because it's so bad for your liver. And when your liver's clogged up, it can really affect your vision as well. So that makes perfect sense to me. Oh,
Wow.
and the aspartame in anything, whether it's in an equal packet, you throw it in an iced tea or something else. But aspartame is really bad for the gut bacteria. It will kill the good guys. So we want to definitely avoid that. Fat free, though, that's another thing that, I was raised on that. Go low fat, go low fat. For every gram of fat is 9 calories. For every gram of carbohydrates or protein is 4 calories. So you can see where going lower fat would reduce your calorie intake by almost half, a little more than half, actually. So fat has more than twice as many calories. Saturated and trans fats are something we do want to avoid or limit as much as possible for cardiovascular health. That's how you clog up your arteries, is consuming lots of saturated fat. So why is fat free a bad thing? Number one, we need fat. We need fat for our brain. We need healthy fats for our heart. Healthy fats are an anti-inflammatory. They can help regulate hormones. So we do want to have healthy fats. Healthy fats can reduce cravings. Healthy fats can help your body absorb fat soluble vitamins. So A, D, E, and K vitamins cannot be absorbed if you don't have fat. So say you have this beautiful salad with dark green leafy, vegetables and purple cabbage and red bell peppers and tomatoes and shredded carrots and all the colors and all these wonderful vitamins with A, D, E, and K. If you have no fat, if you have a fat-free salad dressing on that, you're not going to absorb all those beautiful vitamins. So we do need a healthy fat, and I encourage you to get a healthy fat at every meal. And in this program, you're going to need a healthy fat at every meal just to get your calories in. And often, fat-free means they've probably added sugars or other starches or other chemicals to make it taste better. Sugars and fats are what, make food more palatable. So to keep their product on the market, to keep coming back and buying more of it, they've got to do something to make that flavor better or good. And so they will add sugars. If you look at a fat-free salad dressing, I can almost guarantee you it's got sugar in it. And it's usually the high fructose corn syrup. So fat-free, be very, very, very mindful of that label. Plant-based meats. Probably get a lot of kickback on this one. Yeah, it is definitely lower in saturated fats. Your saturated fats are primarily coming from animals. So the most of these plant-based meats are lower in saturated fat. So that's a good thing. That's why it's in white. Some of them are higher in fiber because some of them are made with beans or nuts or seeds or other things that have fiber. So that's a good thing. Um, why is that in white? It does, most of them have methyl cellulose in it. Well, it's FDA approved, but so are cigarettes and alcohol.
Oh.
The protein in it, if there's any protein in it, is often soy protein, which is a hormone disruptor. And the soy heme in there, that is often put in there, which is confusing to me. It's put in there to, like, if it's a burger, if it's like a fake meat burger, they put that in there to make it bleed so that it looks more like a burger. To me, if you don't want to eat meat because you don't want to hurt the animal, why would you want to see something bleed?
Yeah.
If you don't want to eat meat, I respect that. You don't want to eat it because you don't want to hurt the animal or whatever. But if it looks too much like meat, why go there? Just don't do that. And then people want to go plant-based because it's better for the environment. Yes, cows fart. Yes, it affects the environment. But I'll tell you what, the cows that are doing all the farting are the cows that are conventional cows.
Yes.
And they're being fed foods that disrupt their gut and their, all that stuff. So when we eat foods that disrupt our gut, what happens to us?
Hmm.
We're passing gas too. So if we vote with our dollars, and if you go for beef, once you get past your 12 weeks, go for a grass-fed. Those cows are like how much they're uh, putting out their gas or their carbon footprint is much, 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 much better. Not to mention the factories that make them are still doing factory things. They're still running their factories. They're still putting a carbon footprint on the planet as well. So if you really want to go plant-based, there's nothing wrong with that, but understand that to me they're lower, they're not a full complete protein, most of them. Again, there's probably hundreds of them out there. So whatever their ingredients are is what you really want to know. What's in it? If you ever ask me, hey Tammy, is it okay if I have this Impossible Burger? I'm going to say, I don't know what's in it. So if you've been with me for a minute, you better send me a picture of the ingredient list so that I can go through that ingredient list and say, hey, that looks all right, or no, that's not so good because, and whatever the reason, because I'll tell you why so that you can start to learn as well. All right, label reading tricks. We touched on this yesterday. Actually, we went on depth on this yesterday. But all natural flavors, all natural, there is no legal definition for that. So it's basically meaningless. Basically meaningless. There's no rules or things that any company has to do to be able to say it's all natural. From my understanding, and I've been doing some homework on this last few weeks, all natural means it could have something that was either a plant or an animal that was natural. Take a piece of it, they can add up to 100 chemicals and
Oh,
mess it all up, but it's still one piece of it came from something natural, so they can state it's all natural. Natural flavors, same thing. You really don't know what you're getting, but it's a way, if it's on the front of a label, doesn't it make you kind of want to reach for it more? Oh, that one's all natural. That's probably better for me. Honestly, if it says all natural, I don't know. And that to me sometimes it raises a red flag. Well,
no.
if it's all natural, let me see what's going on in there, because that usually means there's sugar in it. Look at this. I raised my hand again. I don't know how I did that. What did I touch? I have no idea what I touched. I wasn't touching anything. I was cholesterol free or gluten free. That's another thing that they put on the front of your labels that make us want to reach for it more. Now let's go start with the cholesterol. If it's a plant-based product, it never had cholesterol in the first place. So if you're looking, if you're looking at a jar, of like almond butter or something, that almonds came from the ground, they come from a tree. So that's plant-based. but it's labeled cholesterol free, and your doctor if your doctor just told you, oh, your cholesterol is too high, you might pay 50 cents or $1 more for that cholesterol free almond butter. But guess what? All the other almond butters on the shelf don't have cholesterol either, unless they've added butter or something else to that almond butter. But if it's just, almonds, it never had it. Gluten-free, same thing. We've been telling you guys gluten is just one of those triggers to spark inflammation. I say that almost every single week just to impress upon you, please don't eat the bread, don't eat the cracker. I know it's so tempting and we want it really bad, but I want you to be clear that that's one of the culprits right after sugar. Gluten's at the top of the list right after sugar for causing the inflammation. But just because something is stamped gluten-free doesn't mean that it's an okay product. You still need to do more investigation. You still need to turn the label around. We never, ever, ever want to trust the front label. We got to turn it around and see what's really going on. We want to look at nutrition facts. But more importantly, even over and above nutrition facts, we want to see the ingredient list. What's in it? So like a gluten-free pasta, for example, or a gluten-free bread. Well, it sounds pretty good, but what they do is they typically will get a rice flour instead of like the wheat flour. Okay, so that's good for the people out there that have the Crohn's or the gluten sensitivities, but rice flour is very high glycemic, which means it's going to raise your blood sugars, which means it's going to raise your insulin, which tells your body to go into that fat storage mode. So gluten-free is good. It's not always bad. I'm just saying it's not a free pass. This product has got to be good because it says gluten-free. Diet. If something's labeled diet, that's a red flag for me too, especially if it's something sweet. It's probably got aspartame or sucralose or some of those chemically man-made, bad for you, bad for your gut sweeteners. So eating clean, eating just really clean, healthy foods, using the substitutes that are natural, like we got stevia and monk fruit and allulose. Those are sweeteners that don't spike blood sugars. We can have sweet things, but things like Diet Coke or diet sodas, I would usually stay away from. But again, what's the real thing we got to know? What are the ingredients? Sugar-free. So sugar-free, same thing to me, kind of similar. When something says sugar-free, that's a red flag for me as well, because that tells me it's probably got aspartame or sucralose in there. I would probably lean towards no sugar added, but again, you got to look at your ingredients list. Organic. Now, I want to do a little deeper dive into organic. I put this on the label tricks list because, just because something's stamped with the organic label does not automatically make it a good choice. There's lots of things. There's organic breads made from wheat flour. There's organic sugar. There's a lot of organic things that we're avoiding, especially things like sugar and wheat flour. So organic is something we are absolutely looking for, but just because it's organic, you still want to know what the ingredients are, because even if they're organic ingredients, but it's on the avoid list, just know that. But I wanted to go into what it means for organic and why we suggest that you go organic. So there's a lot of points that they have to do. So number one, the companies have to fill out an application that shows specific practices, how they're going to manage the soil, how they're going to prevent pests, and how they're going to meet all of the organic standards, because there's very specific standards. Number two, there's a transition period with the land. The land has to go 3 years with no prohibited substances that are non-organic. So you have to prove that the land, if it's a growing crop, they have to prove that land has been following organic practices for 3 years before they can call themselves organic.
Wow.
Number 3, implementing practices such as no synthetic pesticides, no synthetic fertilizers, GMOs, antibiotics, sewers, or sludge. They have to show that and they have to prove that. The next one, must keep livestock organic from the last third of gestation. So even while, say, the cow is pregnant, that last third of that pregnancy for the cow, that the baby cow that's inside, that last third, that cow has to be, the mom cow has to be eating organic or eating to follow the rules of organic. So you can see these cows got to be healthy, a lot more healthy than eating that soy and that corn that they do. So for cows or livestock, it's the last third of gestation or from the second day of life for poultry. They also got to prove that they're managing it all organically. The next one is inspections. They get a first inspection to show that everything's inspected right. But they also get annual inspections to show that they're keeping up. And they also get surprise inspections. So again, we know for sure that they're not using these synthetic chemicals or sprays or antibiotics or non-organic practices because they're going to get surprised. And plus their annual visit as well. And the next one is only products that have at least 95% to 100% can be labeled organic. So if it's a bag of something and it says it's organic, it has to be at least, all of the ingredients have to be at least 95% organic. If it says made with organic ingredients, the ingredients have to be 70% organic. Just FYI. And then the last one is they must keep detailed records, which will get audited periodically. So they have to keep detailed records on what they're doing for all of their organic practices. I'm sure they probably have to show receipts for some of the stuff they buy to do the things that they need to do. So I did want to get a little deeper dive into organic, why it's important. So when we're buying, especially like fruits and vegetables that are organic, we know that the companies that are allowed to put the stamp, unlike like natural flavors, there's no rules. No rules. Anybody can kind of say that as long as it came from the ground or a cow or something somewhere. But organic has a lot of rules, which is good. We want to know that. We do want to know that. We just can't just take the word organic and say, okay, it's fine, because if it's organic sugar, I'm still going to poo-poo it. All right, the next one is low calorie or light. It's just a lighter version of its original self. But a lot of times they do add sugars to some of these things to make them taste better. So I guess I'm repeating myself, but that's how it goes. Look at your ingredients. Are these things what you want? Now, I do have a buzzword list in the group that you guys can print out. I call it the buzzword list of ingredients that you want to look at. So you can print that out and take it to the grocery store with you. And it's in the label reading section. Oh, this last one here, made with stevia or olive oil. I put that one on there because they tricked me twice. Not once, but twice. So the first one, made with stevia, I was buying a yogurt. And so like, I don't know if you've been to the store where they have the Carb Master. So it's like low carb, it's no sugars. They didn't add the actual sugars or the high fructose corn syrup. Well, that's what they do add, but I'm wishing they made one without all that stuff. So then there was this yogurt, at the market. It said made with stevia. And I went, finally, they finally made one without the aspartame or the sucralose and all the junk that they put in those no sugar added yogurts. I buy a bunch of them, I get them all home. And then, of course, as my habit goes, and I'm eating it and I turn around and look, it had the sucralose. It had, at the very top of the list, it had stevia at the very bottom. So in other words, it goes most to least. But they tricked me. I bought it and I bought a bunch of them. So, but on the ingredients list, it goes most to least. So the top of the list, it was the or sucralose, I think it was, but it was closer to the top of the list. The stevia was at the bottom. Then I bought another salad dressing, and it said made with olive oil. And I'm like, finally, these damn, salad dressing people all want to use that soybean oil. I can't stand that. I don't want that in my body. I don't want safflower oil. I want olive oil. I want avocado oil. So, but that's what it says on the front label. Guess what? I got it all the way home and I turned it around as I'm sitting there eating my salad. Oh, and I have my salad dressing. So what do? You look at the label. Sure enough, it had the soybean oil in it. At the very bottom of the list, it had a little bit of olive oil. So they weren't lying. Yes, it had olive oil in it. They were telling the truth, but it had this much compared to the primary oil being soybean. And it's way cheaper for them to do it that way. But
Yeah.
guess what? It worked. It got me to buy their product. So please do yourself a favor. Don't let some of these things fool you. Look at your ingredients list. There we go. Never trust what you see on the front label. My name could be Grace. Doesn't mean I'm grateful. My name could be April. It doesn't mean I'm born in April. It's a way they can, like if you get a product and says, and the name brand, if the brand of the company is called Organic Farms, but it's not stamped organic, be very careful because it could very well not be organic. That's just the name of the company. They can call them, like I can call myself organic. You know what I mean? Like I can call myself Joy. I can call myself whatever, but it doesn't mean I am those things. I like to think I have some joy, but you know what I'm saying. All right, so this one, we did a deep dive on this on Monday, but I really wanted you guys to get a visual of what I was talking about. So when we're talking about chickens, or in this case, we're talking about eggs, conventional, free range, cage free, pasture raised. What's the difference besides price? You guys have all been to the store, and you see the conventional eggs, $2, $3, $4. It's gone down quite a bit now, but it's $12 for a dozen of pasteurized eggs. What the heck? Why would I do that? Well, let's dive in a little bit deeper. So if we look all the way to the left, the pasture-raised eggs, they do have a deeper color versus the conventional eggs, but they have 3 to 6 times more vitamin D. And guess what? Of all the vitamins on the planet, of what Americans are short on, it's vitamin D. So most of us are short unless we're taking it and our bodies are absorbing it right. The pasture-raised eggs are 70% higher in B12. That is your energy. That is your, I feel like a human vitamin. It works on your nervous system. It helps you metabolize fat better. So that's a big deal, 70% better. It has 50 to 200% more folate and 40 to 60% more vitamin A. Vitamin A is your skin, your vision. It's also your immune system. We want vitamin A. Also, conventional eggs are higher in omega-6, which means can be high inflammatory. But the pasture-raised eggs are 2 to 7 times more of omega-3, which is an anti-inflammatory. So that's the difference right there, inflammatory or anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Conventional, pasture-raised. 2 to 3 times more vitamin E and 7 times more beta carotene, which is in the A family. Again, great for your skin and great for your eyes. So in the middle here, you can see the pasture-raised eggs, and I believe it's 178 to have pasture-raised. Again, there's rules. So to have pasture-raised chickens or eggs, they have to have, I want to say 158. Don't quote me on that number, but 158 square feet per chicken. So as you can see, they're out there doing chickeny things. They're pecking on the ground. They're eating the worms. They're happy little chickens. They're, waving with their wing over there to the other chicken way over there. On the right at the top, that's conventional. They live in those cages 100% of the time. They get no natural sunlight. They don't get to peck on anything. They're getting feed that who knows what it is, probably corn and soy. They're not eating the bugs and the worms and the grass and all the stuff outside. Cage free and free range are very, very similar. They're both inside. They're both not getting any sunlight or very, very little. If they are getting any sunlight, it's usually through a window, but not very much. Let's see here. Anything? So I already said all this other stuff. Okay. I was so happy to find this picture. I know it's cut off at the bottom, but I couldn't find anything else that really did it justice. But I really want you guys to get a visual. So when you go to the store and you're, on a budget, I know I am, and you look at the price difference, and sometimes it can be a $10 difference. Please understand what you're getting and the health benefits that you're getting. So you're really not you're pinching on your health when you're pinching on the pasture raised. At least get organic. Organic can have some sunlight. It's not going to be the same as pasture raised, but they're also getting organic feed. So again, organic is like better than all the others, the cage free and the conventional for sure. All right, so you've got another visual. Yeah, I can't see that. All right, so yeah, they have limited space, GMO grains, antibiotics, no natural sun. The cage free, they're not in cages, but they're not outdoors, just like can you imagine living like that? The picture on the left, like with people, you're shoulder to shoulder all the time. The pasture raised, mostly outside, eats grass, vegetation, and foraging for food, natural sunlight, and doing chickeny things. So they're happy little chickens. And I know the way you think affects your body. I know the way we feel affects our body. We talked about that in the spiritual fitness segment a few weeks ago, several weeks ago. So you can imagine any animal, whether it's a cow, a pig, a chicken, a turkey, whatever, if it's living in horrible conditions its whole life, it's very stressed. So we're getting a piece of that stress when we consume these conventional types of livestock, I guess would be the best word. All right, fish. We did touch on this on Monday. So the farm raids are fed pellets or fish meal, but they're usually GMO wheat or soy, and I've even read plastic residue. Let's see, this reduces the omega-3 and increases this omega-6. Again, omega-6 is an inflammatory. We think we're eating all the salmon to have these anti-inflammatory response, but if it's a farm-raised salmon or farm-raised fish, they're higher in omega-6. Also, by the way, the color added here, if it's a farm-raised salmon, you usually see it's color added. They have to add color. Whereas the wild caught is eating food that it's supposed to eat because it's living in the wild. It's eating the food that it's supposed to eat that actually makes it turn into that kind of pinkish, orangish color. And they're much higher in omega-3s. They eat the small fish that don't have the problems in there. And they're high in astaxanthin too. Astaxanthin is when they eat that orange moss, which is what turns them orange, astaxanthin, we're also getting that benefit. I used to sell that astaxanthin as a supplement in my store, and it was very expensive. But it's good for your eyes and good for your skin and good for connective tissue. And it's good for athletes, for stamina as well. So when we're buying wild caught, we're doing ourselves a favor on many different levels. The farm raised fish, if they're swimming in, again, they're swimming right next to each other. Same with those cage free chickens. They're just so close. They're just so crowded, so crowded. It's just not a healthy environment for those fish. So you want to go wild caught as much as humanly possible. All right. So what's really in your food? All right, let's talk about food dyes. There's so many different ones out there, and they're finally, United States is finally catching up. Some of these dyes and some of these chemicals that we're going over today have been banned for over 30 years in other countries, but not here. They've been allowed. Somebody got to follow the money somewhere. Somehow it's passed through the FDA and they've allowed it, but they're starting to pull it back. So there's red number two, blue number one and two, red three and four, yellow 5 and 6, cochineal, and carmine. Guess what? All these these are man-made, all these numbers that you see, they're all man-made and they all have horrible side effects and mental. Like when they did a study with kids, and they gave them specific colors, like they gave all the kids just blue, like the blue candies or the blue Gatorades or whatever. And then a different study, they did the red and then the yellow and the orange, whatever. And each color brought a different dynamic. So some of the kids were like sad and happy, sad and happy. Some of them were just angry, outbursty. I mean, it really affected behavioral effects in kids. So now it's hard for me to even eat anything with added colors. So there's the cochineal and carmine. But guess what? See this little bug here? This little red bug? So if your thing is red, whatever you're eating, and you see these words, cochineal and carmine, that's what you're getting. I'm not saying it's, to me, it sounds better than some of these chemicals, but just understand these are bugs that are putting in your food for color. And nothing better than a visual. So I just wanted to give you that heads up. Again, let's go back to eating clean, healthy foods, regular vegetables that have all the pretty colors without all these horrible chemicals in them. Preservatives, ascorbic acid, nitrates, nitrites, BHA, phosphate, food additives, aluminum, potassium bromate. These are all preservatives in your food. We want to eat those as few and less often as possible. And by the way, a lot of these things are listed in your book on page 52. Now, they're going to be on the buzzword list for your ingredient list in that handout that I have in the private group. But if you want more, because Dr. Infantino has more than what I put together in the book on page 52. So read through those. Try to commit some of those to memory. So when you're looking at your ingredient list, you're going to start to memorize, oh, BTH or whatever, oh, that was on that list of bad stuff, or BHA, whatever. There's all kinds of different ones. Questionable ingredients, methyl cellulose, that's what they're putting in that fake meat. Aluminum, stay away from aluminum. Don't cook with aluminum. Aluminum is absolutely connected to Alzheimer's and dementia. And I was talking with my mom last week, and I went to California to visit my mom, or a couple weeks ago. And my grandmother did have Alzheimer's. And my mom said, she cooked with aluminum pans all the time. And aluminum is a very common ingredient you'll see in your deodorant. So please do yourself that favor and get aluminum-free deodorant. So be very, very, very careful of some of that. Sweeteners, you guys probably know this one by now, but aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, those are all man-made chemicals. So when we know something is sweet, but there's no sugar added, that may not be your best bet because it's probably sweetened by some of these things. Now, again, if it's monk fruit or allulose or stevia, have at it. And obviously, sugar is the number one enemy. It causes more problems. It causes problems in your gut. It causes problem in your brain. It causes problem in your heart. It causes problem in your vision. It causes problem for your circulation. It causes inflammation, which causes problems everywhere else in your whole body. I know I'm repeating myself, but I really want to get that in your head. And then, of course, trans fats, things like palm oil, palm kernel oil. It is margarine. We used to all go to margarine because it's not butter. We don't want to do butter because that's a saturated fat. Well, it turns out trans fat is way, way worse than saturated fat. Saturated fat we have to limit, but trans fat, avoid like the plague. Avoid, avoid, avoid. All right. So, recap, there's no such thing as a magic pill. We want to just eat clean. Read your ingredient list. Plant-based isn't always healthier. Now, again, I am a fan of plant food. Eat your salads, eat your veggies. I'm just saying plant-based doesn't always mean it's better, especially if it's like a fake burger or something. There's all kinds of different ingredients in there. Some of them are kind of clean, and I'm not against all of them, but just I want you guys to be aware. Understand where food comes from, what it ate matters. So what your chickens ate matters, what your cows ate matters. So really, it's not about dieting, it's just learning how to enjoy eating cleaner and enjoy just eating how we're eating. Yeah, so the buzzword list is in the club, drinfantino.club. And so with that, does anybody have any questions?
Yes. So Tammy, we
Yes.
talked the other day. There we go. We talked the other day about maltodextrin, and it's a sugar. I'm realizing dextrin. And even if it's organic, it's still a no-no. Well, I tried looking at the one thing, what I don't remember what it was, but I looked at the label and the sugar was relatively low, like maybe 3 grams. And it was an organic maltodextrin along with other things. I'm getting tripped up on that. It was in with so many good things, and it was an organic maltodextrin. And I know I'm supposed
Well,
to
where was maltodextrin on the ingredient list? Because if
it
it's
wasn't at the top. It was somewhere maybe in the middle. I just wish I could.
I don't know either. And here's how I know I don't know, is because I was looking at this drink. I was looking at this drink, and it said 6 grams of added sugars. And so I'm looking at the ingredients, and all it had was fruit juice in it. Like there was no sugar, there was no brown rice syrup, there was no high fructose corn syrup, there was no what I call added sugars.
Right.
It was just fruit juice, which it still had 15 grams of sugar coming from the fruit, but they even mislabeled it to their detriment.
You're right.
So they do mislabel. Don't think that they're all perfect, because they are not. When I had my vitamin store, I had a guy, he had this fiber drink, and he was a friend of mine. So of course, and he had this new business, and he wanted to sell this drink. And it was a drink, but it was a fiber drink. And I did have a refrigerator in my store, so I thought, all right, I'll give you a shot. And then I looked at his label and I go, dude, that's wrong. It can't possibly be what you're saying it is. And here's why. Well, I knew the why, but I'm saying not all of the
It
labels.
happens. Yeah.
It happens. It does happen. The bigger companies like General Mills or, Post, or like for big names, I'm sure they have more professional labels or people that are doing a more accurate job, because they legally have to, be as accurate as they can. If they oopsied and accidentally said it wrong, then they did. Just like that drink I was looking at. But
I really thought, right, that maltodextrin would be something that when you looked at the grams of sugar, that it would be much higher than what
I think it's more of a, I want to say it's a carbohydrate, sugar is a carbohydrate. So it might not be a sugar per se, but things like that, things like white flour is not a sugar. But what does it do in my body? It turns to sugar.
Okay.
So that might explain why.
That makes sense. So you're really telling me, regardless of the amount of grams of sugar, if it says even organic maltodextrin, even if it says that at what I consider 3 grams, I'm sticking with it, 3 grams of sugar, even if it's that low, stay away from it, because just because it's maltodextrin, it might have the ability to make a wildfire.
To me, that might be if it's something you really want, that would be a sometimes, like once in a blue moon.
Sure.
If you're still in your first 12 weeks, we want to stay as close to the thing as possible.
Yeah,
of course, but eventually we want to branch out and try new things. But like if you were to get a white bread and you look under sugars, it's going to say very minimal. It might have added sugars, but if it doesn't and it says no sugars, it really doesn't matter because I know white flour turns to sugar in the
Exactly.
body. So we
All
do need
right.
to, that's why the buzzword list, and I really primarily made that buzzword list for my label reading talk. But why would I hold out on you now? Just take it early. And then when I get to the label reading, how to actually read labels, we'll go over it again. So that'll, and that's coming, I think, at the end of October,
Good.
the very last week of October. So you'll have a couple other topics in between. So this will be, some of it will be reviewing this stuff. But this is the most important. If you understand what the tricks they do, how to look at your ingredients, what the bad ingredients are, what to look for on your labels, and what to look for on your ingredient list, if you get those, you're going to do okay.
Yep.
Everything else is, that I talk about is, well, of course, mindset. You got to get your head in the right place. That's like number one. We can wish all day long. I want to get healthy. I want to get healthy. But if all I can think about is candy and sweets and pizza, I'm gonna screw myself up. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Well, I'm so glad you guys are here. Um, Tina, you got a shout out earlier, so go back and listen to the replay. Because I think you showed up after. Anything else? Anybody else? Oh, I want to just remind you, heads up, you guys, I'm sure all know this already, but tomorrow starts my vacation. I will have my phone if you have a quick food question. I'm only going to check it in the morning or at night. I'm not going to have it with me all day. If you have, thank you very much, Patrice. um, oh, thank you. Thank you, Evelyn. I washed it.
You're pretty.
It
She
does
said
look good.
she gave me a hair compliment. I'm like, well, I washed it, once or twice a month, whether I need it or not. I'm kidding. Anyway, so Dr. Infantino, you can email him, or what I would also recommend, especially my newbies, go into the drinfantino.club group and ask your question there. And so for those of you who have been in the program, some of my graduates, or you've been in here, or if you just know the answer already, please help the new person out and give them, well, Tammy told me this, or this is what I think the answer is. If you guys can go kind of bond together a little bit and be part of that village, that would be very helpful. That would be one way to get quicker answers. You can email Dr. Infantino, but he's going to be doing his job and my job. So it might not be as quick of a response. He will be covering for me, hopefully tomorrow morning. I know he's under the weather this week, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. But I'm sure he'll be better by for sure Monday or Tuesday. And so if you guys can come to those calls, please bring lots and lots of questions that especially the ones I can't answer. Bring them the doctorate questions, bring the medicine questions, bring them that kind of stuff. Or ask him for other food ideas. My ideas and his ideas are I'm sure very different. He's got more, we got different tools in our belts. As a personal trainer, I have a client who also has another personal trainer. So she has two of us. And between me and Terry's the other trainer, we each have different tools in our tool belt. So this particular client gets the best of both of us.
How
So,
fun.
yeah. So, and I've been with that lady for 6-7 years. So, anyway, so please bring some questions for him that you want to know. All right. Anybody else?
I'm good. Enjoy your trip.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited. I will be back here next Wednesday, probably with stars in my eyes because I'm coming home late Tuesday night. But I will be here. Oh, there's more chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Have a good time.
Thank you so much. Awesome. All right, guys.
Bye,
You have a
guys.
wonderful day, and I will see you next week.
All right. Thank you.